All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Keeping It Real Since podcast. Today, we got our boy, Cesar Montoya. He is an immigration lawyer. If you haven't heard him, you probably heard him on Power 106. If not, he was on Univision. And if not, guess what? You're going to hear him here today. Immigration is a hot topic, so, we had to bring on Cesar Montoya. Depending on which way you feel about Trump, whether you like him or not, we get into a lot of that stuff. We get to know who he is as a person, some little fun things. So definitely watch this episode. You guys are gonna love it. Leave your comments. Let us know what you guys think about this podcast, what we get into. We're excited about this one, guys. We're sponsored by Stickler. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out on Instagram, Stickler Golf. Let's get into a pod, baby. Let's go.
I definitely believe that things are connected and things happen, and so I don't think it's superstition anymore. I just think I don't understand it.
What about religious? Are you religious?
I mean, I'm not per se religious. I consider myself a practicing Buddhist.
Oh, practicing Buddhist. Fuck,
yeah.
dude. I feel like
we just went to go see Eckhart Tolle on Friday.
Oh, I did see that, dude. Me and Ricardo were talking about Eckhart Tolle,
We saw him on Friday.
That's a book.
Yeah.
The day we were talking about it.
We saw him.
Yeah, so Ricardo, he's bringing it up to me, the mindset and all that visualizing. And then he tells me about this book. And I said, dude, I have it. But I thought I had it here. Fucking Chris just brings it in.
The same day.
Didn't
even realize it.
It's not just fucking,
Yeah.
It's not coincidence. Shit happens for a reason. So with manifestation and being present, it's like I said, with what you were mentioning, it's just like this time, it's so easy to get lost in shit.
Right.
But you just got to take it a day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
It's like you could worry about, like tomorrow, you worry about everything that could go wrong, or you could just deal with it as it comes.
I feel like that's the best way to live by.
Yeah, it's it's the best way to live because it's like the only one that makes sense. It's like you can hear something, react to it, take it in, and then fucking freak out. Or I mean, you can just kind of control how you react to it and try and do the best. Like I said, it's Shaq dying. I could have freaked out. Could have just had a full-on meltdown because it was my little baby. But you just gotta take it as it comes, and it's reality. It's life. It's the way shit happens.
Yeah, the only thing you can control is how you react.
Yeah,
that's really it.
Yeah, literally. It's I have another tattoo that's my credo when I meditate. It's no action has intention. All intention is interpreted through past experiences. However, every action is an opportunity, lesson, or challenge.
Interesting.
And so it's just understanding that the only thing you can control is how you react to it.
Yeah.
You just take the opportunity, you take whatever's happened, and you turn it into whatever it is. And
You can make it bad. You can make it good. I mean,
you can take it as a lesson, or you can say, why did this happen to me, and victimize yourself.
Kind of like how we manifested this podcast. Huh? We always said, dude, we're going to get Caesar on, dude.
For sure. And I mean, like you said, it's always been good to connect. And I think one of the biggest things is as I've embraced, so for a long time, one of my really good friends, would always mention to me, it's you gotta have your strong community and brothers, your brown brothers, and building that has been something really important to me over the last couple of years. Most of my friends were white for a really long time, but instead embracing community and having people who have similar backgrounds and upbringings, it's really fucking important. So that's why when we started connecting, and then I was I know these people, and therefore we connected even a larger little group of people, and just,
it starts building.
Yeah, and it's community.
Yeah.
It's community, man. Community is important, and it's really what it's that's the one thing, again, you can control in society right now is who you associate with, who you make time for. That shit's important to me.
Yeah, dude. I think it's important for us too, man. I mean, 100%. Community, man, and building it and making connect. I mean, dude, even coming in here, I mean, we got to know you, and then because of you, we were able to meet Wizzo, George Paniche, people like that. And I think, dude, that's wild to me, dude.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I mean, that's what it is. It's energy and the right kind of not just personality, but the right approach to people. That's the way you make these connections. It's where you put yourself. And so again, then it's what you can and can't control.
Exactly.
It's the energy you bring to a conversation, which is hey, these guys are cool. oh wow, they're admirers or friends of the. Okay, cool. And so it's just that same thing. And so, being positive, being approachable, being like, I mean, to an extent, light compared to heavy.
Yeah.
Like I said, being in this industry, you can always just like, oh shit, everything's gonna go wrong. Fuck, what's gonna happen today? Or you just take it a day at a time and control what you can, because the reality is you can't control everything, and being able to like kind of surrender. That's, I think, the biggest thing that just brings you some peace is like, you know, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I can't control it. I can just control how I react to it.
Yeah, just like the battery.
Hey, do you feel though? Hey, do you feel though like, because me and Ricardo were talking about it, where he's, you know, if you visualize something strong enough, that actually comes to you. So in a way, you kind of do have a little bit of control.
Manifestation, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, was a guy Theo Vaughn. I saw this like clip of him the other day, where it's if you visualize something so vividly. And again, you're making it basically come true metaphysically if you just believe it so much, or believe that's already occurred, that's going to happen, that there's a higher likelihood of it actually happening. And I definitely believe that. Like, everything that's gone well for me was visualized. And again, sometimes you can call it a plan, or sometimes you can call it manifestation.
Right.
And you grew up in LA?
Grew up in LA.
Damn, dude, I feel like that's tough. How do you come across that kind of mindset? You know, being that LA is, from what I've heard, is very, you know, it's tough.
Damn.
I mean, you know,
it's
so
tough.
funny enough, like a lot of it came through trials and tribulations. Like growing up, like in my teens and like early, like I was very into the music industry, and so a lot of my friends were the hippie / techno / all that stuff. So for a long time they were into that, but I wasn't. It was after, like I said, honestly, I grew up pretty sheltered and protected.
Right.
And so more than anything, it was really being able to face traumas as they were happening head on and deal with them at that time and place that really made me understand, like, yeah, this is the best way to approach things. Because I used to be very like defensive, and I would like freak out over things that I couldn't control. Right. Small things even. But so when, like I said, when it was like really you let shit go that you can't control, and you're just like, yo, that happens.
Yeah.
I can't control it. It is what it is. It's just a lot easier to live than trying to fucking freak out or figure shit out.
Was that like before you started doing law or during?
During.
Oh, really?
During. I mean, dude, like, even in the practice of law, you go through personalities. I mean, attorneys are crazy people.
Yeah.
Like, truly.
I've only seen it in the movies. They drink a lot, party a lot.
Actually, almost 5 months sober. So that's
congrats.
Fucking,
I know, dude. Congrats.
Yeah, I mean, and I've partied my fair share.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think it goes along with all this, like, just finding yourself and finding what's best for you at that time and place. Like, when I go out with friends, I'm like, yeah, you guys can drink. At this point, it's not about, like, you know, I'm going to freak out or blow up if I'm, like, around it. It's more so my body just feels better and I feel better, and I just think it's the best thing for me.
Yeah.
And
so is there a timeline for how long you're going to go without drinking?
I think I'm done.
That's it.
I think it's like, dude, and I told myself, if I want one, I'll have it, but I don't want one.
Yeah. What was the turning point? Was it just like one day you woke up and you were like,
it's
man?
It's just like, it's trends, dude. You go through these times where you're just like, think you're having fun, but sometimes it's not even really fun. It's just habitual.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, weekends, you're like, oh, I'm going to have a scotch here or there. I'm going to have a drink here or there. And the next thing you know, is fucking small little bender, you know? So, yeah, we've seen each other.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it gets like that.
We've been there.
Yeah, we've been there. We've all been on that bender.
And so it's just like, at some points in time, I'm just like, yeah, I'm tired.
It's exhausting, man.
Dude, and it ages you, man.
100%.
Like, me and Ricky have both been like, since we like stopped drinking, we've just been like working out, and we just like, you're like, oh, they used to say, oh, El Gordito de Santa Ana. I'm like, fuck, dude.
Shit, you're well known now.
You came up with that one?
I was gonna say. Nah.
One of our clients, like, told Ricky, oh, ¿Usted es el gordito? El gordito de Santa...
They knew you as the gordito.
Dude, that's what they called us. Like,
That's
dude, we look at pictures of when we first started this business, and shit was like really stressful, and the way we dealt with stress was through drinking or whatever else. And dude, we were looking paunchy. We were not looking good. And now it's like I said, dude, you focus on yourself. You focus on like what, again, you can't control. What you can't control is like waking up with a good attitude, going to the gym, handling what you have to, and trying to do it with like the best attitude you can.
So now that, you know, you don't take your stresses out with alcohol, like, what do you do?
The reality is, again, you control what you can, and I just try and relax. Like I said, like, I'll give a little more context. My little French bulldog died a couple weeks ago. R.I.P. Shaq. R.I.P. Shaq. His name was Shaq, not the basketball player.
Let's get that clear.
Little homie, like, was like a big part of my life, and like would, you know, make me more socially active to an extent. But now it's like, dude, even then, like going within my community, I live in Mount Washington Highland Park, even though now it's a fucking hipster, gentrified, like centro. It's still cool to build community within that area. Like I go to places and they're like, oh, where's Shaq? Shaq died. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And you know, it's like they even feel it. And so it's building that community even within another area, and knowing that you have an impact in people's lives even if they don't know you. It's that energy you bring, that energy I brought with my dog. It's again, the one thing you can control is the energy you're bringing to a conversation.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's just like, you know, lightness versus heaviness. And like I said, we can talk about immigration and how crazy it is and the day-to-day of it, but at the same time, it's like the reality is it is where we are right now. Trump is, you know, doing exactly what he kind of said he was going to do, and it's terrifying for a lot of people. But at the end of the day, people ask me, oh, what do you think is going to happen? I can opine on what's going to happen. I can tell you what might happen if he's going to start using the military, if he's going to start like, you know, having these kind of concentrate. But again, I don't know. Is that really helpful? Is it really going to bring anyone peace? Is it really going to make anyone happy if I say that?
Just speculation, yeah.
It's fear-mongering.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to do that. Like, even when I tell clients, like, sometimes, you know, you can sell with fear. You can bring cases in with fear. But I'd rather be real with them, and that's one of the biggest things I try and tell them. I'm like, hey, this is what your case is like. This is what we can and can't do. And I'm going to be real with you. Like, a lot of these clients are close to my age or around my age or younger than me. Some are older, but I mean, usually it's within those same age ranges. These are people who are coming like 27 to 35 with a kid or two, married or on their own. They're fleeing their countries and they're coming to me and they're like, doctor, abogado. And so you got to bring them like some confidence, but also some backing and some reality. Yeah. That's the other thing. Like, there's some attorneys who will try and promise like what's not possible, just the goal of retaining a client. Truth is, I'm like, yeah, this is how it is.
Right.
You're here. You need help. You can go to someone who's going to tell you bullshit, or you can go to someone who's going to be real with you. And I'll tell you when you should be afraid or when you shouldn't, or what you can and can't do. But I'm not going to bullshit you. That's the biggest thing. Is, again, you're their attorney. You're supposed to back them up. And I think with that said, it means, you know, being real with them, not trying to sugarcoat it, not trying to give a false expectation.
What is the biggest misconception right now going on in immigration, you know, with everything going on, Donald Trump, you know, having pretty much daily media talks, like what is the biggest misconception that people have that are like, okay, that's way extreme versus, okay, well, you got to be prepared for it?
I mean, misconception, I don't even know, dude, because I don't know what's real right now. I mean, yesterday the Supreme Court ruled that they were able there wasn't the right venue with regard to the deportations of the people sent to Sinop. Which is like, again, you're sending people to another country, not their home country.
Right.
You're sending them to El Salvador, to a jail designated for basically terrorists.
I had a client that was saying one of his buddies he's Vietnamese and he got deported. He got deported from here. Vietnam didn't want to take him, so they send him to El Salvador.
So I mean, there's certain like laws where like you can have a deportation order, but you can't be deported to your home country.
Right.
And so that's like the case that I was just talking about. The guy, Salvadorian national, who won withholding a removal. So basically, he has a deportation order that's inactive. Unless the conditions of his country change so much that he can actually be safely returned to his country, he can't be returned to El Salvador.
Right.
He got deported to El Salvador. They're saying he's a gang member. That's the one where they said he had a crown and he was wearing a Chicago Bulls jersey. Apparently, that makes you a gang member now. So,
like some Chicago stuff. No?
Yeah. And so that case, I mean, again, it's wild to think what they're doing with this. So misconception, I don't know if there are misconceptions. I don't think anyone really knows what's going on.
It can be as wild as it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really knows what's going on. That's why when people ask me, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of things changing every day. Yeah. Like I think the one I read today, it says the IRS finalizes a deal to share tax information with immigration authorities to help locate them.
Bullshit. I'm like... So here's the thing, and you hear this misconception. Here's a misconception.
There we go.
People who are unlawful in this country don't pay taxes. I have so many people who are unlawfully here who are wanting to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Like I know, very honestly, they probably have better tax records than me.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like they literally
allegedly.
We'll bleep that out. We'll bleep that one.
IRS. No, I'm good.
Who pays, man?
But
call Ricky.
No, I mean, because that's the truth, man. They literally will tell me like, how can I do my taxes? I'm like, well, I'm not an accountant, so don't ask me, because like truly, you should not be asking me for that information because I don't know. But I have so many of them asking like, how do I do taxes? How do I do taxes? And they do it. They get an ITIN number, identification number with the tax, with the IRS, and they pay taxes. So that's one. And so now they're putting themselves at risk. So here's the thing. You're de-incentivizing them paying taxes. If some homeboy down the street who is unlawfully here is working and wants to pay taxes, but now is like, well, why would I do that if they're going to have my information, if they're going to know where I am, and they're going to know I'm unlawfully here?
So it's almost you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
And it's like now you're pushing them to not pay their taxes. You're almost pushing them to do more illegal activity. Yeah. Maybe to even catch them and be like, you see, you don't pay your taxes. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So I'm like, if they're doing that, man, that makes no sense. Like, and again, sharing information. How do you know they're only sharing the information of unlawful people?
That's where it gets tricky, man. Now
And now we have like Elon kind of getting kicked out and all this and that.
I heard that just happened today, I think.
Doge is, I saw this article, or it was a short video on the New York Times where a New York Times TV, reviewer, he reviews television shows and episodes. He was talking about how the government right now is like a television show. We were just talking about how the White House is posting memes. It's a meme account now. You know, you have pictures of people being deported being run through the ChatGPT, the little imaging software where they're now cartoons and being posted online. Like it's
nonsense. I feel like
we have friends on both sides, you know, and some people think they're funny. Some people think they're disrespectful, and you could say they're right. I would say they're right leaning. That either find it funny or even some find it disrespectful too, because it's like kind of like, what the hell? Like this is supposed to be an official government, website.
Like some of my best friends are conservative leaning.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like there's a difference. The reality that they face are both white dudes. Like my two best friends are both white dudes.
Yeah.
They don't understand whether it's the struggle of being a Hispanic person or the reality or the identity behind it and the shared identity behind it. And therefore, you're kind of obviously limited. And I can't blame them. They don't know what it's like to grow up a brown dude because they're not brown. And so I think that identity portion of it is why it's important. Like, again, I said this when I went on Power. It's funny. Power was the most like visibility I've had.
Shout out to Power 106 Brown Bar. Brown Bag
Letty,
podcast.
the homie Letty and Jorge made it happen.
Yes, sir.
And Concrete, shout out to Concrete. He actually helped out one of our clients, so that was awesome.
Love it.
Beautiful.
But so one of the things that they were saying, I was explaining to them what's happening with what's referred to as the collateral apprehensions. So I wanted to use this example. I wish maybe I did. I can't remember, but per se, you know, one of your aunts is at a fucking carne asada, and one of your uncles has this crime from 20 years ago where he beat his ex-wife. You know, it happens. It's common culture in Latin community. It's macho stuff and all this and that. Let's say your aunt or your mom don't have their lawful status here in this country. They're at the carne asada together, and then ICE or some kind of law enforcement comes after your uncle, and they find out your mom or your aunt is unlawfully there. They'll pick her up too.
Fuck.
And so, like, it's like the funny thing is like seeing the reaction from like the haters.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting to see. It was like people who were like, oh, this guy doesn't, he's trying to work for ICE. He's this. And I'm like, guys, I'm literally on the opposite side of it. I'm literally the one who's trying to defend my clients from ICE or from DHS or from all this shit.
But you're also aware of what
Yeah.
the consequences. Yeah, you got to keep it real at the same time.
Like, literally, I was like, this guy it seems like he eats tacos. I'm like, hell yeah, I eat tacos. Like, who doesn't eat tacos? Like,
Hello.
I was like, dude, and it was funny. It's like, oh, this guy. I'm like, dude, I literally said, like, as much as, like, because again, the majority of my friends were and are white.
Yeah.
And but one thing is my parents always said, Cesar, as much as you want, you can't hide the nopal on the frente. And it's there, dude. It's like, as much as you don't want to believe it, it's there. That's one thing I've always said. It's like, no matter where you grow up, no matter where you were educated, no matter this or that, whether you're a person of color, you're going to be a person of color. You're never going to be seen as white. No matter how affluent, no matter how this or that, like, you're a person of color. You're not a white person. And so I think that's, like, always important to recognize, especially when talking about certain things. And so that's why I think it's just, like, being aware. It's like being aware.
So,
Right.
so going back to the Power 106, that was the biggest platform you or like were able to be like, hey.
I think so. I
And
mean,
then you were on Univision.
Yeah, well, so Power was the biggest, like, I don't know. I mean, social media following, of course. Like, I mean, you're talking not just about Power. You're talking about Letty. You're talking about Concrete.
Yeah.
You're talking about all these DJs who have hundreds of thousands of followers. And so, yeah, and also being from LA.
Yeah.
Power 106, like Big Boy's morning show, like, you know, Big Boy.
Yeah.
Like, that was me growing up. And so that was like a dream come true.
Yeah.
Univision and whatever other channels, Visión Latina and like small other channels here and there, those just happen through connections. And again, keeping those connections, like being like available, being open, I think being available is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like they'll call me like day of, or it's like, hey, 5:30 in the morning, not the day of, but they'll call me the day before, and then I have to be there at 5:30 in the morning or at 9 p.m. at night. And it's just the hustle. That's the hustle. I think one of the biggest things with like being an attorney and having your own practice is how much of the hustle aspect it is answering somebody's phone call will mean that you'll retain someone compared to someone else. Going on TV at 9 p.m. or at 5:30 in the morning is how you get that visibility compared to someone else.
Yep.
Like, I think it's a hustle. No matter, that's one of the biggest things, that it's just business. It's just hustling.
Yeah.
It's never going to be pretty. Even like, you know, the most successful people are still constantly fucking hustling.
Yeah.
And just like grinding and grinding and grinding.
Yeah, and
So-
speaking of connections, hold on, I gotta ask this one. Like, you said you knew Letty, right? She put you on the podcast. Like, how did you build that relationship? You know, we were talking about the power of now and how everything's all about kind of manifesting and letting things flow in the moment. Like, how did and now you're an immigration lawyer. How did you build that relationship with? Was it Letty or did you know George?
Jorge. I met Jorge. Jorge, like, when I met Jorge, I had no idea who he was.
Right.
And he just comes off as just a humble, cool dude. we go to the same athletic club in LA.
Right.
And we're shooting around playing basketball, and one of the times he pops up with these Fear of God Nikes that were unreleased, and I'm like,
you're like, dude, what?
I'm like, ugh. And then I started talking to him, and then I finally knew who he was through. I think it was one of the people at the bar.
Yeah.
He's a great photographer.
Yeah,
and so
very.
he took, images. I can't remember if it was DaBaby or Tyler. They're all around the club. And it's like, oh, that's for his photography. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, you know who he is, right? I was like, no. I was like, Nipsey's manager. I'm like, oh, wow.
Shit.
In LA, name dropping is so commonplace. Yeah. He did not name drop once. I found out who he was through others. And so we've stayed close through the years. Like, we'll see each other at the club here and there. After I tore my meniscus, I don't play basketball as much. But, I still see him around.
Yeah.
And I'll play a game here and there. But that's how I met Letty, and that's how it all happened. Again, it was like this was, earlier this year, so getting someone on, obviously, I don't think is the hard part. It's availability. Yeah. It was one morning, they just called me and were like, hey, can you pop on for a phone call? I'm like, I'm going to be in court in a second, but yeah, okay, we'll do it quickly. Let's get it done. So it was a phone call, like, out of nowhere. And then the next day, I actually went in person.
Oh, that was
I
sick.
had no idea it was actually going to be like the morning show. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
I pre-recorded. I thought it was going to be more just like a quick little airing. I was like, oh, wow.
How long did they have you there? I think I heard it, but I
remember.
Yeah.
I think it was like 10 minutes or something like that.
That's sick.
And, they're strong personalities.
Yeah.
They're like, they're entertainers. Like, I would be more ready for another round this time, because that first time I was still in shock.
Yeah.
And also I've never had studio headphones on that way. All you hear is kind of the conversation, nothing else. I was like, kind of, wow, okay.
That's pretty dope.
It was definitely an experience. And then, like I said, the Univision stuff, honestly, not as intimidating as the morning show.
That's crazy. You would think radio.
Do you think it's because, I don't know, maybe it's Spanish? Is it you're more comfortable with Spanish? No, it has nothing to do with that.
My English is a lot better than my Spanish. I think it's like, because here's the thing, like in Spanish, I'm just talking work stuff. It's like, one of the things is in immigration, and you continue to say a lot of the same things, so you learn how to say them better. It's kind of like a role.
Yeah.
You're trying to make people feel better about certain things, but you're also warning, you're putting risks out there, rewards, so you're kind of counterbalancing and things of that nature. And so with like the morning show, I haven't had an English interview in years.
Mm-hmm. Dang, bro.
My first interview on TV was in English, but then this one was like, it's not even TV, it's radio, but
and it's
like,
something you grew up with.
Yeah. I had literal people like messaging me, like, they're like, hey, I just heard your interview. I'm like, did someone tell you? Or like, I was just listening to the radio, and I was like, dude, wow. So that was really cool, because again, it's the outreach of radio still, and I mean, it's just, as an LA boy, it's a dream come true.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Dude, I was going to the bank, and I was like, oh shit, I think Cesar's gonna be on. And I turned on the radio, and sure enough, you're on there. I'm like, dude, that's dope, dude. I was like, this guy's in my building.
It's right down the hall.
Dude, so after you're done with those interviews, like spitting what you know and reaching out to the people, how does that make you feel? Like, it's like,
you know what? I a lot of times minimize it, but it's an opportunity, and I'm grateful for every single one I'm given. And that's, like I said, that's why I bring the energy I can to wherever I am, like, because I have to be grateful about it. Because for a long time I was just like, oh, it's just work, but it's still an opportunity. It's a platform to share an idea, to share a concept, to hopefully make someone feel a little better, and or share information that I think is correct, or it's my opinion. And so it's an opportunity. Not everyone has that platform. Not everyone's given that. So I have to be grateful for it. And again, it just goes back to that mindset of just being grateful.
Is that what you initially started off being an immigration lawyer, with that mindset of like, I got to help everybody as much as I can?
I started off in civil litigation, like I think a lot of attorneys do. And it was just an insane, crazy workload, no work-life balance. And so I went to another immigration firm that was a hectic environment.
Were you managing that one?
Yeah. I managed that firm after, like, I came in. I don't know why the boss liked me so much, but he did. And so he put me in charge of everything because since he was, like, gallivanting and traveling, which is great for him. I mean, hell, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
But I was running that, like, for 1 year in almost. And then from there, I was there for a couple of years, moved over, managed another one, then managed another practice, and then finally came and did my own.
Damn, Cesar, how old were you when you were managing those
27.
practices?
Are you 28?
No, right now, no. Now I'm 34 now.
There you go, man.
Yeah, dude. I wish I was.
I feel like you've lived a lifetime, man.
When I was 28, I still had hair.
All the stress, man.
No, I think it's just genetic. Yeah. I think the stress just made it worse. Because I told my dad, and my dad's like, yeah, I had hair till I was like 35. I'm like, I started losing mine at like 32, 31, 30. So I'm like, yeah, I think the stress of it, adds on.
Yeah, dude, at least it looks like you could grow a strong beard, man.
Can't.
Nah,
I cannot.
That mustache is strong,
The mustache
man.
is strong, dude. The mustache is strong. No,
Yes,
I cannot
sir.
grow a strong beard, but eventually I'll go to Turkey,
There you
No,
go.
dude, I'll go with you, dude. My hairline's receding, bro. We'll all go.
Dude,
Turkey ain't ready,
One
man.
of my boys, like, he always messages me. His girlfriend bullies me.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, you guys need to go here. You guys need to go there. Dude, just be proud of it. And, like, that's what the funny thing is, like, I think it's more widely accepted, and I've dated girls who, have got breast implants or lip surgery or this and that. And I was like, oh, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, as long as you're happy about it. Same thing for a dude, man.
Exactly.
It's like the hair transplant. I think that's like the one way that like men feel much more comfortable and happy. And I know like one or two people who've actually done it. So I think it's eventually going to be the way to go. I'm just waiting to see where I'll be at.
Exactly.
Go,
so going back, you finished managing those firms. What was 3 of them, 4 of them?
3.
And then you did MCM. You opened up. So
Yeah.
like going to MCM, what's been like the biggest challenge of starting your own firm? Like your mindset, you had to shift from managing to now like
running
it and doing it.
I think like one thing is like when you're managing someone else's firm, you're making them money. But again, you're not at any risk and you have a salary.
Okay.
And moving over and doing your own thing, it's like, if I don't make money, I don't eat.
Yeah. That's very true.
So it's a balance of that like risk reward. Again, it's like, but without that risk, there's less reward.
Yeah.
But if you work, you definitely get to eat wherever you want. You know?
Should. I mean, you should.
Exactly.
You should. But I mean, in reality, sometimes it's not that way. Like, I know some attorneys who work really hard, or some really great attorneys who don't have the visibility and don't get as many clients. And that's the name of the game, is like, as you start becoming more realistic about the industry, it's client retention, visibility. That's what makes you a successful attorney. Some of the best attorneys don't do what I do because they don't want to put themselves out there, or they don't want that stress of running their own business, so they're not as known. Mm-hmm. There are some great attorneys out there who you don't know about just because they don't want to be known.
Do you feel like it's more like Latino attorneys who are like, we grew up kind of
traditional,
assuming being meek, like kind of being more humble and not being like braggadocious to be like, oh yeah, let me get out there, I got this, like,
Some for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's all around. It depends on the field. Some people don't want to be braggadocious. Some people, being in front of a camera, it's not for everyone. Like, that's one thing when I do either my advertising or go on TV, like, I'm live on all these things.
Yeah.
I haven't had a big slip yet. See, this is nice because I can curse. That's actually fun. I don't even remember if I was allowed to curse on the morning show. Yeah. But like, this one's fun because I can actually curse.
Yes, sir.
But,
let one out right now. Fuck.
Fuck, man.
Fuck. But yeah, so sometimes, like, as good as these attorneys are in writing, or as good as they could be in court, being in front of a camera makes them feel very under the microscope.
Do you think, like, especially nowadays, because like everyone's on their phone, social media, all that stuff, I feel like it's important that you are in front of the camera if you have a business or you're doing that. They say, like, your Instagram is almost part of your resume.
Absolutely.
You know, you got your followers and stuff.
And I think that's been sometimes like the hardest thing is like making time to make content. In this saturated market, it's just like you have to make time to put out stuff.
Yeah.
Even if it's incessant, even if it's, but that's the reality of this media marketplace. It is what's there, and you have to make as much as you possibly can, because maybe one of those things will go viral, or maybe one of those things will get shared, or it's just that's
so
reality.
So are we gonna see Cesar on the billboards like Sweet James?
I mean,
Fred Loya.
Fred Loya.
But that's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's honestly the goal. And I mean, something like, I think some people will say like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to be more serious. It's business.
It's business.
It's business, and that's one thing you'll never hear me front about. This is all business. It's like, it's a calling, but it's also business. Like, that's the truth. Like, if someone tells you I would do this for free, then do it for free.
Yeah.
You know what? Because there's a lot of people, especially nowadays, there's like more active. I guess there's more an inspiration to be an activist, right? And there's a lot of people like saying, man, if I could help, I'd do it for free. But when the going gets, it's like nothing's really free, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, nowadays, it's even rougher for a lot of people who were the pro bonos or who were the people providing aid, because their grants are gone.
right.
Like, Trump got rid of all those grants. There are no more, or they're lacking nowadays. And so we'll see if those people stick around. I hope they do. I really hope they do. Because again, I as much as I can, joke about it, they're vital. They're necessary.
Some people don't have the means for
Yeah.
lawyers, yeah.
I mean, most people. I mean, even like with regard to people who are coming into this country, a lot of them fall through the wayside or fall through the cracks because they don't have representation. I mean, cases in court are hard, no matter what, with an attorney, let alone without. Like, you're talking about case law. You're talking about elements of law that all these people went to law school for. And while not everyone who's a lawyer is a genius, I mean, they have basic understandings of how to present a case and how to argue a case. So it's like going from zero understanding to even a moderate understanding is significant. It's something, again, there's a field for everyone. That's one thing when it comes to like other attorneys and like, oh, are you like friends with them? Yeah. One of the other attorneys I worked with, she would always say, there's a big enough for all of us to eat.
Yeah.
And
100%.
so there's no need to like become adversarial or to do this or that, because at the end of the day, you may need to talk to them, or may need to reach out to them at another point. And yeah.
Don't burn bridges,
So
man.
so now that Trump's been back in office, do you think the want for an immigration attorney has gone up?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fear is, like I said, a seller.
I feel like a lot of like most immigration lawyers use fear to, I guess, retain their. But I feel like you don't use that.
I mean, here's the thing. In some cases, I know people who I'm like, you have a criminal case, and you like, if you have like, say, a warrant out, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm like, let's get that handled before you do anything. Oh no, you're just trying to scare me. Yeah. In this administration, that is scary. If you commit any crime, I tell my clients this before we go into court, because everyone's scared. Are they going to detain me? They shouldn't. Can they? Technically, they could, but it's not an efficient use of their money, nor is it something I would try and allow if they were to try and do it while we're going to court.
Right.
But here's the thing. Sometimes they won't tell me about a crime, or they'll minimize a crime. Oh, see, there must have been an incidente. I just had a little incident here or there. And it's like, tell your lawyer. Don't try and hide it from me. Don't try and minimize it. I will minimize it for you. Don't try and minimize it from me. Because then it puts me at a disadvantage when I'm finding out, like, oh, you had crimes in this country, or you had this crime in another state, and you didn't think it was going to come out.
Damn.
Like, oh, I thought I hit it. I thought we expunged it. No, it's federal.
Yeah.
And look, as we're talking, we see Kristi Noem up there. We were just talking about Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that... she's quite a personality.
Yeah.
And
She's definitely.
I don't think I've done my
herself-
research on her.
No, Kristi Noem, she's definitely.
she's the
out
one that
there.
shot the dog.
Oh yeah,
What the
exactly.
She shot her dog.
said it was what was the reason?
I don't remember what the reason was. I just remember she shot her dog.
That is wild. Oh my God, I didn't know about that.
Everybody's giving her shit for that because she
was. I think she ran for a Republican candidate for a second, but was getting a bunch of crap because of the fact she shot her dog.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's one. I guess it's always like you get this other perspective of, oh, you're killing an animal. Does it matter? I've never had a cow. I've never had a goat. I eat goats and cows, you know?
You know what I'm saying?
But shooting a dog, ugh.
Dude, that's heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
Something in the mind that you gotta allow, yeah.
And you know,
especially if it was your pet, you know, it's like, damn, that's crazy.
I mean, unless
that's
you're
like
doing it to
shooting
take them out of their pain, but I don't think that's what it was. I think it was like either a bad dog or like, I don't remember what it was, but it was something like kind of heinous. It was in her like autobiography.
Yeah,
that is wild.
I think she justified it by saying like, "Oh, I can do with what my property is."
It's my property. Yeah, it is.
What the fuck?
It is. Dogs are property.
Yeah.
I mean, even like, you know, so we were talking about my dog passing, Shaq, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Shout out to Shaq.
When he passed, you know, I went through all these emotions of like, what the hell happened? Who messed up? Where did they mess up? The reality is a French bulldog, you know, they're inbred, they have all these issues. More than likely, it probably was something autoimmune.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, both the attorney and the ego in me was like, I am suing someone. I'm doing
Somebody's got it.
You know, at the end of the day, I thought about it. And then also in considering its property, you don't get much from property damage because it's actual property. A dog is
that
property.
how it's looked at?
Yeah, it's property.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A cow's property, a dog is property, a cat's property. Yeah.
Oh,
interesting.
You have to
I
get
didn't know
licenses for dogs?
Yeah, you do because they're still, you know, they're kind of like livestock or they're, you know, they're
That's
animals.
crazy. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
you don't.
See,
you
animals.
get a license. Yeah.
Property.
Damn, that's crazy.
I feel like there's I don't know, maybe that's just me. The property versus animals.
A living
like,
thing.
What is what?
I mean, it's like you can sell a dog. You can't sell humans.
That's
so,
true.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
that's a difference. You can sell something.
Yeah. Going back to this lady, what was
Christy
her name?
Nome.
Christy
Christy
Nome.
Nome.
Okay, she's a politician, right? So like for you, like being that you're a lawyer, would you ever step out of being a lawyer and do like some politician work to help change laws with immigration or?
I mean, why not, man?
Yeah.
I've always said, like, if there's a feel for it, if it's the right place, why not? I think right now I'm focused on what I'm doing, but I've always joked about it. Like, it's funny because I'm like, I'm tell my friends, I'm like, yeah, one day the guy that you guys knew as that idiot might be, you know, running something.
yeah,
and again,
changing some policies.
the reality is nowadays, especially with someone like, not I'm trying to idealize or run as a mirror of Donald Trump, but the guy was kind of a scumbag. We've seen this with a lot of politicians now, so it's like, you know, again, not to say a checkered past can define you, because I think, again, you change through your eras in life. People go through their times in which they did more regrettable things, and then they change their lives in totality.
Have you ever met anybody who just had like a clean slate pass?
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I think some people, like even like some friends in this field, you start off where if like you're making money and then all of a sudden it's all this stress is tossed upon you. Some people don't know how to react to it, and some people don't know how to deal with success either.
Yeah.
And so it's all kind of, again, it's a balancing thing. And so, yeah, I know people who run music festivals who are now completely sober, or people who run law firms who are now completely sober because they've gone too far on that other end. So definitely, I know people who've gone down the deep end and then come back out. And still, the biggest thing is they're still around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, dude, I've noticed a trend. Yeah, I feel like the younger generation.
Oh yeah.
They're not drinking.
No.
They're not drinking. They're staying sober. And then I've noticed that a lot of our generation are quitting drinking.
Yeah.
Like I think we're all realizing, like, damn, they held us
not
back.
good for you.
No, dude, it's. I think with all the information and every, like social media, you just see all this shit, and you're like, man, dude, I've really been fucking up.
Well, dude, it's like, yeah, what was the number? I mean, obviously, I don't know if all of Gen Z is of drinking age yet, but I think that they were mentioning, I think it was 21 billion for millennials is the annual spending. I think it was 3 billion for Gen Z. So that drop off is significant.
Yeah.
And I definitely seen it. Gen Zs are interesting people. They live very openly. They're not embarrassed of things. Like, you know, they're supposed to be a more successful generation than we are.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, dude, like, I still have to get comfortable, even recording. Like, for them, it's like, just another.
But economically, I don't know, man. They can't get a house these days, dude.
Well, Gen Z, I think they are more likely because of, dude, they're the TikTok, Instagram,
the iPad
Bitcoin
kids.
generation.
Right. You got a point.
Where a lot of them aren't going to college and taking out these massive student loans. A lot of them are starting their own business a lot younger. They're generating income. They're more proactive in a lot of ways. I think this is a thing from, the baby boomers to whatever, Gen X to millennials to us. There was that disconnect. Like, I think some Gen Xers still had some opportunity to kind of mimic what the baby boomers did, because they're the most successful generation of all time in any country. And this is the history of the world. They're the most successful.
Yeah.
And then I think for us, for our generation, it was just that, like, okay, what you were told is you go to school, you get an education, you get a job, you buy a house, you're married. It's just like, this American dream that no longer exists. And so I think the one thing about Gen Z is they've kind of disconnected from that, and they're doing things their own way. Whether you call it the whole they, them, this whole new thing of like identification, but they're proud of it. They're doing it with no shame. Not that they should have shame. It's like, just like they are outwardly who they are. And I think it's cool. Like, honestly, I'm like, I wish we had that same opportunity. And like, I think it's even more so within this like new generation of minority culture. They're just as open, and they're proud of it.
Speaking of they, them, and those pronouns, like it's been a controversial like topic. I think a lot of people talk. There's people that are for it and people against it, especially because it's a polarizing conversation. Does that affect law? Is that something that does that?
Well, I mean, so in immigration, especially like asylum law, there are certain ways that you can win a case, basically protected ground.
Right.
So it's just a quick little intro to asylum law. Persecution is something extreme or something significant. Harm, basically a form of harm that's extreme or significant, heinous or egregious, and it has to be based upon something. So it's one of the 5 protected grounds: nationality, religion, political opinion, race, or particular social group. When it comes to they, them, whether it's LGBTQI or however you want to identify, nice little rhyme.
Sick.
Basically, it's very particular because of the fact that it's visible. If you're transgender, in a lot of cases, it's very visible and noticeable. So yes, especially in Latin American countries, it's a very strong case. And that is the majority of my clientele. They're Latin American. Same with homosexual and or bisexual. Again, whatever part of that community that you identify under, it's a visible thing. You're holding hands with another man, or you're holding hands with another woman, or you're holding hands with another person of this group. And so being that visible, it's a very strong case. The question is whether or not they're going to change law with that regard, because, they are being discriminated upon by this administration. You heard day one, 2 genders.
Mm-hmm.
So is it going to change? Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows?
And I think one of the biggest things is like there's this judge here in Santa Ana who's lived in Mexico for a long time, and I travel to Mexico City every once in a while. He's like, "Oh, are you kidding me? Are you saying like a gay person can't be in Mexico City? It's one of the gay capitals of the world." And things are changing in Latin America. I was talking with Ricky earlier today, and he goes like, "Dude, I wouldn't be shocked if at some point this country goes backwards and people are going to Mexico."
Yeah.
Because, Mexico's great.
Okay, I feel like I've heard a lot of people say, "No, that's where I'm going to retire, man."
I have white friends who are moving to Mexico to live there now. Their new dream is the Mexican dream.
Yeah,
dude.
If you go to Mexico City, parts of Condesa, parts of Roma Norte are just white people. Not Mexican white people.
Yeah.
They're like Chad and Daniel.
You know what I'm saying?
If it's not Daniel, it's Daniel.
Yeah. When I went to Mexico City, the cab driver was saying that.
Oh, dude.
He said there's a lot of Americans out here.
And it's because obviously rent's cheaper, the dollar goes further. Like, dude, it's great. You go out there and you kind of feel like you're in Europe. You're walking around these beautiful parks, these beautiful people. There's culture. I mean, I've always said I'm not the biggest OC fan. Not Santa Ana, but OC because of the lack of culture. You go to Mexico City, there's so much culture
anywhere. From different block, Polanco, the Zócalo.
Polanco, you got like the rich, that stuff.
I was shocked. I was like, damn,
dude.
every time,
You pull up and it's just this like dude in a Ferrari. And,
man.
It's like Miami, but
shit
like
I never
more
seen
culture.
before,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like when people talk about, I always talk about like, when I talk to some attorneys or when I'm in court sometimes and you're like, oh, have you ever traveled here? And they're like, oh, I wouldn't go to Mexico. I'm like, why? It's so dangerous and I'm white. I'm like, dude.
It's perfect.
I was like, yeah, maybe not, but like it's crazy like how much money there is there and how white some of the people are. And again, it's just funny and I'm like, dude, no one knows who you are. No one's going to do anything to you because at the end of the day, there are more important people than you in other places.
100%.
I think it goes to the same thing as like being able to understand that you're not at the center of everyone's world, whether you're American or just individually. I had a friend once tell me that like I was on stage with a couple DJs and I made a little bit of a fool of myself and he was like, dude, no one was paying attention to you. And I took it kind of like, oh, no one's paying attention to me? Like personally. But then you think about it. No one pays attention to you. You pay attention to yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're in your own head.
Yeah.
And so, again, it goes down to that same perspective.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what's a boring-ass city here in Orange County now that you mentioned
Irvine,
bro. I was
That's where Ricky's from. That's where Ricky lives.
Dude, it's all uniform, bro.
Dude, you know what?
It's so uniform, bro.
For Ricardo, who helps manage my law firm, he has a family.
It's good for families.
He has 2 kids, a wife.
It's safe.
It's lily white, boring, clean.
Yeah.
But
Conservative.
Everywhere, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know what? It's not as racist as Huntington Beach.
Dude, I've never, even when I was 21, I've never felt comfortable in Huntington, Newport. I don't know, dude. Yeah. I just don't.
I mean, like I said, for me, I'm an LA kid, and I'm not a West Side boy either. I stay on the East Side or downtown. I think that's where most of the culture is. Like, you can ask any of my friends who live on that side of town. It takes a miracle for me to get out there. Like, literally, it'll have to be like a wedding or a really nice restaurant I want to try, but I do not venture to the West Side. I stay on the East Side.
I see. So back to what we were talking about. I do got to ask you, the whole Trump thing, right?
Yeah.
If you had 5 minutes with him, 5 minutes, what would you say to him?
5 minutes with them. Chill the fuck out.
Chill.
Come on. The reality is this. He's made so much money off of the back of immigrants, and he's just trying to demonize people to, gain power, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The reality is we need immigrants. We're not populating this country at the pace that we're supposed to control growth or to continue growth. Therefore, immigrants are coming in, and they are populating a lot more than white people are or other ethnicities. Hispanic people like to have babies. They like to have unprotected sex. Good for them. We need the workforce. And so I think the reality is I wish as a brown person I could just tell them yo, dude, I understand why people are scared that maybe brown people, if they become a dominant majority, will treat them the way that white people treated people of color. But I don't think that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
It's not a power control thing. It's not anything like that. So I would just tell them, chill out.
Chill out.
Come on, dude. It's not that bad. You want to demonize, you want to talk about this and that. There are ways of making people... whether you want to talk about it socially or economically or having some kind of money available for redistribution, and I'm not talking socialist stuff, but at the end of the day, it's this wage gap, this disparity between the haves and the have-nots. Like, it's so significant.
Yeah. Do you think if he was going after like let's say immigrants who have caused crime here, do you think it would be like, okay, yeah, you can deport those people?
No one is gonna say let's keep the immigrants with crime. No one.
Absolutely.
No one is gonna
Yeah.
argue
So
that.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
But it's
yeah.
the hardworking, the people who are with families who are doing it
What's
the
like
right
what
way.
you said in the beginning of the podcast? If it's almost like a loophole to say, okay, a good family's going over, maybe some of them are undocumented to a house that they don't know somebody's doing some dirty shit. He gets picked up. Oh, it just so happens y'all, you know, you guys.
And I think again, it's like people come here with families looking for a better future. That's true. But how is that a bad thing? That is what America was to start. And if we're closing that dream, then I think what the French said, give us back the Statue of Liberty, because this isn't the land of the free anymore. It's not welcoming in the masses, the migrants. It's not doing that anymore. So I think that's a pretty clear sign to the rest of the world. Oh, yeah, we aren't what we used to be. Mm-hmm. We're not this oasis of freedom of religion, opinion, of speech. Because I mean, you're seeing what's going on right now. They're like abducting like people who are talking. Mm-hmm. Like you have the people who are supporting Palestine, or people who are. I mean, it's an opinion.
Are they targeting also I guess people, just immigrants, or is it citizens
I mean,
as well?
no, they're immigrants.
Oh, okay,
they are
okay,
immigrants.
okay.
They're residents. A lot of them have their green card or valid visas.
And then they get revoked, right? Yeah.
Yep. And that is within their power.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
Again, they're arguing they're supporting foreign terrorist organizations like
That's
Hamas,
fucking wild,
and I
dude.
think it's a stretch.
Yeah.
To say you're opposed to Israel or their, whatever you want to call it, I'm not going to say they're apartheid.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
In the West Bank or Gaza or wherever it is, I don't think that means you support Hamas. I think they're not the same thing.
It's a stretch, man.
But again, that's what they're doing, and this is the thing about the Trump admin this time. It's they know what they're doing this time. The first time they came in, they were talking. This time, they're actually taking more action. And I think that's the scary thing. That is scary, is that he does know what he's doing this time. He did put some people in power that are acting like Tom Homan, the immigration, or what is it, the borders are. That guy knows what he's doing. It's kind of terrifying because he actually put some competent people. And when I say competent, it doesn't mean in a good way. You can be.
He put people that are just kind of like the parking meter guy, dude.
Yeah.
They do their job.
The legend of Santa Ana.
Yeah, dude.
Shout out to the legend of Santa Ana.
I don't even know his name.
I don't know his name either.
It's just, it's the
we
parking
can feel
guy. He's probably on the street right now, just waiting for my car to expire.
I parked here. I gotta remember, bro. I was like, fuck, actually, I gotta remember.
But yeah, it's that kind of thing. You have people.
So you think he put people in office that he knows he can tell them what to do,
No.
and then they change it, or
no, it's that they know how to work policy and they know how to act. It's not that he's telling them what to do. They have similar perspective and purview. Mm-hmm. Like they want to do what he's stating. It's not because he said it. It's because that's what they want.
That's what they believe too.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Tom
scary,
Homan is a very conservative immigration policy enactor. That position isn't like a real government. It's like border czar. Like czar is ruler, king. Like my name in Russian is czar.
Yeah.
That is his position. He is the border king. There is no such thing. There is no position that's created by Congress, or it's just something he made up.
Just like Elon Musk.
Doge.
You see, it's stuff like that where I'm like, man, like, are we looked at as a joke? Because, like, Doge was a coin, a cryptocurrency. And now we're using it as, government. Department
of Governmental Efficiency.
Yeah, dude. Like, I feel like everyone's just looking at us around the world like, man, we're a circus.
It's definitely meme-like, and it's definitely probably funny to a lot of people, but now it's impacting people. All these tariffs, all these issues, I don't know what's going on with it. Like, the reality is it's impacting the market. It's impacting...
Markets are down.
Yeah, significantly. And so I don't know what's gonna happen. Again,
so if I were to ask you like if this continues, all this stuff going on, where do you think we end up by the end of this admin?
I don't know. I mean, it's whether or not he goes authoritarian.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how far he tries to extend it. I think it's really going to come down to how the court rules.
Yeah.
Right now, Congress is in his favor significantly. The only thing that stopped Trump a lot during his last term was the court.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've seen the court rule in his favor in a couple of cases. And he did place 2 people on the court during his last 2 or 3. I think it's 3 people on the court in his last term, which is insane.
Do you think the people end up fighting amongst each other like a civil war? No. You don't think we're that divided yet?
I don't think we're that divided, nor do I think, like... first of all, let's be very honest. I lean more liberal in a lot of senses, but... most liberals don't have guns.
I guess the reason why I ask is because me and Jay were talking about this, and we've seen like people who bought Teslas before Elon Musk was even part of the office or anything.
Yeah.
They're getting their car vandalized, and some even are changing the Tesla logo to like a Toyota logo. They're still driving the Tesla, and they're just like, you could tell they're scared, man, and people are just taking it too far sometimes.
But I mean, like I said, I don't think. What's the other extreme of, like, you know, the MAGA? Is it the where the people with the masks? Oh my god,
what are they called?
Antifa. Yeah.
So I mean, that's anti-fascism, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the other extent of it. But there aren't that many of them. They're not
that's
a whole
true.
party, like basically what the Republican Party is now and how they identify with MAGA. The other thing is again, we're talking Civil War possibility of it. Again, most liberals don't own guns.
Yeah,
I don't own a gun.
Yeah.
And so, like, the reality is that there's a civil war. Our words and our feelings and all that stuff that the liberals are more focused
protest,
on.
huh?
Yeah. I don't think that's going to really help when it comes to guns versus feelings.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
That's true.
so I don't want to start that conversation. 'Cause I don't think it ends well on
Yeah,
my
okay,
side.
cool.
Yeah.
You
Excellent.
know, like, putting the flowers into a gun nowadays, I don't think has the same impact it did in the 60s.
Yeah.
Is there something optimistic you can tell, like, so maybe clients you have now or future clients about immigration and where it might be heading towards, you know?
I mean, optimism is it's only 4 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard 4 years for immigrants. I'm not going to lie about that. It's not going to be easier than it was in the Biden admin. Even like for people who have good cases, like you came in legally and you got married and you're eligible for adjustment. Now they're going through your social media, seeing whether or not, like, you know, they're investigating.
Even Obama, right, was doing.
Not as
did he have
much.
Tom Homan? No.
Tom Homan
Yeah.
was there, yeah, but he was, I think, at CIS at that point.
Oh,
so it was a
okay,
little
but he
less-
wasn't the big figure.
Like now he's a big
Yeah.
figure. But like I think the one thing we could say is it's hopefully only 4 years. I mean, you know, he mentions all this stuff about running a third term, but that's not in the Constitution. And I mean, as of now, the Constitution is still the Constitution, and I really hope that it'll stay that way.
True.
But that's the way I look at it. It's only 4 years, and as much as you want to say, like, I don't think anyone is as charismatic in the Republican Party. Like, I don't think J.D. Vance is going to be able to even run after all those memes about his face.
Yeah.
So, like,
mascara, huh?
Who else is going to run? I think the reality is just finding the right character, right candidate for the Democratic Party for them to, like, actually run a candidate who's impactful,
Yeah.
who is identifiable, who means something to people. Because I keep on hearing, like, oh, it's this woman, or this. I'm like, I think the reality is maybe we need to go a bit more grassroots, and whether it is a white dude from the South or, you know, another black dude, I think that the difficulty is, and it's not, I'm not trying to be, you know, sexist in any way. I think we're going to have difficulty voting in a woman with the swing states.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's be real, and I'd rather have a man who I can kind of agree with than a woman who may have more, who may be a better leader in the future, but right now I think it's about winning. And it's about playing politics, because the Republicans are playing politics so well.
Damn.
It's a chess match, man. And
It's not a chess match right now. It's they're being dominated.
They're
Yeah.
playing chess, and
They're
the
playing
Democrats
checkers.
playing chess.
Yeah.
Dude. That's
You don't
crazy.
think they were prepared?
Absolutely,
They
not.
weren't, huh?
Well, I mean, even just cutting their candidate halfway through, you know.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
that was
because I
crazy.
mean, maybe Biden would have won.
You think
Yeah.
so?
I think he had more of a chance.
Cesar, we're gonna go on to a more lighter segment. So you're in LA, right?
Sure.
So what is the most slept on food spot you would say in LA? You can name a couple.
Easy. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm a massive food guy. So sushi in LA, Sushi Jun, Sushi Hama, both of my go-to spots. Sushi Jun, I've been going there for 15 plus, no more than that now, years. Like I got the door connect, you know, you gotta help with the homie with the tip anytime you go in, so you don't wait 2 hours.
Yes, sir.
So it's no reservation.
So I'm learning
usually,
you love sushi.
Oh yeah. Sushi Hama, delicious. For other kinds of food, like if you're on the more high end, Camphor I went to recently, absolutely delicious. The steak frites there are really insane.
Fire.
Definitely a way to impress a girl on a date. It's a Michelin star restaurant, so definitely be ready to spend. But then for a more local spot, Bar Santos in LA, cool little spot, has great food. They do collabs with all these different restaurants, Found Oyster, Ati. It's a Portuguese food spot, delicious.
Are these all like in the downtown area or?
Most of those are Little Tokyo or the Arts District. Bar Santos is by my house. And that's in like what is that? I think that's Cypress Park, right before you get to Mount Washington, where I live.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then finish this. If I wasn't doing what I do now, I'd be
I wish I would be an NBA player, but my mom told me when I was
Guarding
young.
Luka.
She yeah, dude. And see, that's
we didn't even get to the Lakers, bro.
My mom, I love my mom. And sometimes she'll come up with like, you know, some funny shit. But I was like, you know, 12, 13. I was a pretty good basketball player.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I was always like, you know, Kobe. Kobe was my god. Like
100%.
And so my mom goes like, baby, first of all, I don't think you're gonna be tall enough. Second of all, baby, you're not black. And I'm like, I know. And like, she killed my dream there, but she goes like, baby, you're smart. Like you can be like a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I want to be I don't think that's gonna happen. Now I talk to her. I'm like, you know what? Like,
you're right.
Look at Luka. I mean, I love me some Luka, but homeboy is not that athletic.
Dude.
Nope.
I mean, we got sort of like Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson too, bro.
Brainy, bro.
He's
Yeah.
a little bit taller than me.
All right, so if you did play in the NBA, who would you play for?
I mean, well, if I had a choice, I mean, obviously, I'm an LA boy, Lakers.
The Lakers.
Every day.
I thought he was gonna say.
I thought you were gonna
Clippers.
say Clippers, bro.
I'm an LA boy. Like, I'm a Dodger fan. I'm a Laker fan.
Yeah.
Like Dodger fan till death, Laker fan till death.
Hey,
like,
do we need to ship the Clippers out or what?
I mean, the Clippers are already shut out, dude. They shut themselves.
They're inching
They
away out,
moved.
huh?
They just
Inglewood.
moved. I mean, dude, C-Bomber, great owner. That stadium, I don't know if you've
That's
been.
hilarious.
Super cool. I went to see Fuerza Regida there.
It's like high tech, huh?
It was so cool, man.
Yeah.
It was so
I heard
cool.
the sound there is dope.
Everything is amazing. And, like, yeah, they do have more toilets. So that's always nice.
All right, to rap, LA or New York rap?
L.A.
LA.
Love New York, but L.A. I was going to move to New York. Didn't happen. Pandemic hit.
Okay. How do you
That's fine.
celebrate wins?
How do I celebrate wins? Honestly, more than ever now, family, dude. It's like realizing like my parents aren't gonna be around forever, and they're like the coolest fucking people.
Love
it's just
that.
like enjoying their company and like friends. Yeah, dude. Like nowadays, like even just like traveling, having a meal with people is just enjoying their company.
And what was your I made it moment so far?
I don't know. I don't even think I've had it yet.
You haven't had it yet?
I don't know, man. I've, like I said, been pretty privileged, so I think my made it moment will, I don't know. Here, again, being grateful every moment, just being able to enjoy life. I think all of it's an I made it moment, but when I have that actual, like, yeah, I made it, where it's like more than I thought I expected to have or more than I visualized, that's
Yes,
when I'll
that's
be
the
able to
feeling.
When you're
Right
changing them
there.
policies up.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be the day.
That'll be the day.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. First album you ever bought?
I'm a record collector, so first album I ever bought, like, we'll say first CD.
There we
I
go.
think it was the actual Black Album.
Nice.
And first record I ever bought, like physically, that was when I was in, like, started law school when I started buying records. It's more obscure techno stuff. It was Jeff Mills' record, The Bells, classic techno, Detroit. So I think that was my first record ever. But so yeah, from both ends, like whether it's New York hip hop to Detroit techno.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah. Detroit.
And then if you could have dinner with any historical figure, dead or alive, who would it be?
Well, usually I do 4 people at a table.
Okay.
Anthony Bourdain.
Damn, that's the
Barack
second time we've
Obama,
got that. Yeah.
Barack Obama.
Okay.
And Kobe Bryant.
Why those 3? Is it just
Or Anthony
mindset?
is one of my like favorite people ever, even though sadly came to an end in a really sad way. I just thought he was very interesting and brought a unique perspective to food. It wasn't stuffy. It wasn't like, you know, I love high-end food, but the reality is he presented it the way it was. Like, you know, Mexicans in the kitchen, like fucking it's crazy back there. We all make it seem so organized and not chaotic. I love that he was able to bring that reality of an aspect to it along with like his culture. I thought that was a cool way to present things, and it was a really unique perspective. Kobe Bryant was, you know, my idol. He really did, you know, bring a certain mentality, and I acknowledge it more and more every day. Like, he talks about being present, about the moment, about all this and that. And so everything I learned, that I keep learning, and then I see where he was in his head, it makes me appreciate him even more and more, and understanding what was going on through his head, if I can even have like a small perspective of what it is.
Exactly, yeah.
And then Barack, he just seems like a cool dude. Bright, plays ball,
yeah,
cultured, has good food taste, likes music. He just seems cool. I mean, I'm not agreed with every single one of his policies, but he just seems like a cool dude. And again, he's cultured. I think that's the biggest thing between like why I want to have dinner with him versus Donald Trump. I'm not trying to eat well-done steak and ketchup.
or McDonald's.
Oh, yeah, he does do that shit. That's nasty.
Like, dude, I want
I forgot
medium
about
rare
that.
steak. A medium rare steak. Like anyone, I think like that should
That's
be put into
crazy.
Guantanamo.
Yeah.
That's a real crime against humanity.
You'd rather put A1 steak sauce than ketchup, huh?
I'd rather have a peppercorn sauce.
There we go,
Yeah.
peppercorn sauce.
Yeah.
And last one, what's
see
your
it.
message to your future self?
Message to my future self is stay humble, stay present. Just, again, only deal with what you can control in the moment. And I think, again, it goes back to the same thing. Stay present. Power of now. We were talking about it.
Yep.
Saw a cartoon on Friday, and I think it's just realizing that you got to surrender to what's there and control what you can, but otherwise just be okay with everything.
Hey, thank you guys. Shout out to Cesar, MCM, Law
Yep.
Group.
MCM Law Group.
Right here, front camera.
Abogado Cesar Montoya on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and MCM Law and all the above as well. So yeah, follow. If you have any questions, reach out.